So, yes, thank you, first of all, for inviting me to talk to you today. I honestly have related to every single speaker this morning and probably have taken something from everyone. And if Amanda is still listening, I've got sweaty palms, my heart's beating, and I'm breathing really quickly. But she did say, in fact, she talked about coping mechanisms. And also, Melanie spoke about taking positive, tangible actions. So I'm going to let you into a secret now. I knew that this would happen, and I knew I'd get sweaty palms and that I'd be breathing really quickly. So I took some positive action to try and help me with that. I'm standing up. So if for those of you that could see me earlier, my background's changed because I'm standing up because it gives me a bit of more confidence, makes me feel a bit taller. And I've also got some friendly faces in the room. So I've got some internal allies to inject a bit of positivity to the situation. So yes, anyway, I'll start now. So my name is Tracy Fox and I'm the Business Development Director here at Pricecheck. There have been loads, like lots and lots of changes over recent years at Pricecheck. But I'm not sure that attracting, recruiting and retaining a diverse workforce has been one of them. When I was asked to present on this topic, I looked around the business and I thought to myself, yeah, actually, we are really diverse. And I think I can speak on this. But what I've learned in preparing for today is that the change for us has been becoming cognizant of what we do and how we do it, and then building on those foundations to remain relevant to our ever-expanding and diverse workforce. So Elliot's right, I work for Pricecheck. And Pricecheck are an international wholesaler and distributor with a heritage in health and beauty. So slightly different to some of the other wholesalers from a food and drink perspective. We turn over in excess of £1 million and we sell to more than 80 countries. And we speak 14 languages. And in the last 6 years, we've increased our turnover by £60 million. So that's averaging about 17% annual growth year on year over that period. We employ about 300 people. And all those changes combined have moved us from an SME to a large business. So what does that mean? So moving from an SME to a large business has been quite a transition. And part of that has brought a change in expectation of what we should be offering our employees and our prospective employees. And we've never really struggled with diversity, and particularly gender, and I'll come on to that. The change for us is how we've proactively formalised the process and become cognizant of what it is we're doing. So during the pandemic, we have welcomed 100 new starters. So what does that now look like for Pricecheck? Like I said, we're a team of 300, there or thereabouts, and we have a gender mix of 60-40. And in the warehouse, which would be traditionally a male environment, we have a gender mix of 70-30. So me personally, I have quite a varied background. So I have worked both for a brand with regards to Mondelez, selling to wholesalers, and now I work for the wholesaler. And I've never really felt that my gender has prevented or limited me or my ambition. I graduated from Leicester University, and after a few years living in Japan, I started my sales career at Hayes, and they worked really hard on their diversity and inclusion processes. From here, I moved to Mondelez, and I was there for the next 14 years. And Mondelez, they got it right in lots of ways. But they are a huge corporate, and they have a massive CSR and equality agenda, and they have a whole army of HR to help them. My final move before I came to Pricecheck was at Palmer and Harvey. Equally a massive, massive business, and they worked hard on their diversity too. And here at Pricecheck, we've been getting it right for years now, And that's without the enormous corporate scale and the muscle that these other businesses can put behind it. So today, I wanted to talk to you about our journey of formalising that and how we've managed to maintain our diversity. So Pricecheck has always had women in leadership positions. It's easier to recruit and retain if people have role models to look up to. Having role models is magnetic, and that works for people looking into Pricecheck from the outside, so prospective candidates, and from the perspective of those already here. A third of our directors are female. That'll be me, Lucy, and Debbie, and we are in the bottom right-hand corner there. 41% of our managers are female too, and we're really proud of that. There is something a bit ironic in the timing when you gain enough experience and feel the confidence you need to lead, coinciding with a similar age of when you're thinking about having a family. So here at Pricecheck, our females don't have to make the choice between career, progression, or family. We foster the environment of doing both. We have 2 generations of female MDs. So Moira, that's the lady on the left-hand side there, she jointly ran the business with her husband, Doug, between the years of 78 and 2007. And that's when Debbie, our current MD and Moira's daughter, took over. Debbie now jointly runs the business with her brother, Mark. Both these women raised a family in the business. They did the school run, they balanced school holidays, they attended school plays, and they had children running around the business all the time. In fact, Jack, Debbie's son, he learnt to walk in our reception. Our most recent promotion to a director role is Lucy, and that's the lady in the middle of the screen there. She became our HR director earlier this year after returning to work following the birth of her son. Lucy works 4 days. Having role models helps us provide an aspirational place to work for females, both externally and internally, who are ambitious and want to grow and develop into senior roles. So there is nothing more permanent than change. And if you don't adapt, then those around you will, and you'll get left behind. And so to attract and retain a diverse workforce, we have had to become aware of what they're looking for. And as each year passes, that changes, and therefore so do we. We know that differences are complementary, not confrontational. I mentioned earlier, we've been on a transition, but change is not unusual for us. We've changed the countries we sell to, the languages we speak, the categories we sell, how we sell those categories, and we've embraced the digital evolution. We now sell from an iPad, and actually more recently over Zoom. And as we've grown, our structures have grown and changed with us, and we've increased more layers, we've increased our management that we need to sustain our growth. So actually transferring the culture of change to our people agenda has come naturally. Recognizing that salary isn't the most important factor when looking for a role, and that the 9 to 5 sat at a desk doesn't tick all the boxes anymore, has been part of our transition. Despite our size, we're still small enough to be agile, and we're intimate enough to recognise areas that need more focus. We've added flexi time. We've rebuilt our benefits proposition. We have an extensive mentoring and training programme, and that's helped facilitate more than 50% of our managers being under the age of 35, and they keep diversity high on their agenda. We work from home, we dress down, and we give back to the community. But the job isn't done. We recognise we need to give more attention to our ethnicity balance, and we're making ground. We've doubled our BAME colleagues, and 10% of our workforce is non-British, and that's despite Brexit. The combination of this transition has protected the company through devastating floods, a global recession, driver shortages, Brexit, and a global pandemic. It has helped facilitate the growth we continue to deliver. Over the years, we've worked really hard to improve our entry routes into Pricecheck, and these have supplemented our core recruitment and retention strategy. Our rework team, which is the photograph on the left there, was the first department we had to embrace flexible hours. And it brought women into the warehouse, and it brought women that could work the hours that worked for them. Now, many of those women work in the broader warehouse in roles where they're supervising teams and they're driving forklift trucks. We also run a graduate scheme here at Pricecheck, and this year, 52% of our intake were female. We provide an entry route through our apprenticeship scheme to those where university isn't an option for whatever reason. We offer part-time working and job shares, and that's open to mums, dads, granddads, grandmas, and those with hobbies. In fact, we have a budding wedding photographer in our midst, and he works 4 days a week, heading up our credit control department. But on a Friday, he pursues his interest in photography. Ironically, I can't show you a photograph of him because he doesn't have one. We'll consider flexible working requests from day one of your employment here at Pricecheck. We have a dedicated prayer room for our Muslim colleagues, and we run a wellbeing programme across both our sites, having mental health first aiders across our warehouses and our offices. We have access to 24/7 counselling services, doctors, and legal advice. But mostly we have fun. We run charity days regularly, and the business will cash match personal fundraisers. We have treats on a Tuesday. We have beers on a Friday. We have bake-offs. We make charitable donations of stock, and we support a local charity called Sheffield's Mission Christmas, which ensures that no child wakes up on Christmas Day without a gift. We run social clubs, so we've got a five-a-side football club, we've got a running club and walking club, and we run loads of social events because we firmly believe that the small things make a big difference. Gosh, how can I possibly talk about the unconscious bias now? Well, I've prepared it, so I will. But Marie's already spoken about it, that we all have biases, even computers or algorithms or the humans that wrote the algorithms or the data that the algorithm's pulling from. But accepting and acknowledging it is the first stage in addressing it. And we've introduced several measures to help us overcome our unconscious bias. We have overhauled our recruitment process to be more balanced. We've introduced new interview questions centered around our values because we know what values are important to Pricecheck will need to resonate with prospective employees. We have a more varied process now during our recruitment cycle, such as spending time with the team so you get to know the day-to-day. You start to understand the team dynamics, and really importantly, you get to meet the people that you might be working with. We set role-specific tasks to give a real-life, deeper understanding of what the role entails. And we have a panel of recruiters that they're encouraged to challenge each other's bias, but they're also a chance for the candidate to meet up to 4 members of the team. And finally, we've made the process more accessible by doing at least the first stage online, and that gives flexibility to all involved. Hearing is not the same as listening. I'm just going to give you a second to read that slide. And then I'm going to ask you, has that ever happened to you? So how do you know that you've heard what has been said? We're really good at being self-critical, but we're also good at listening to our critics. And as I said earlier, differences are complementary, not confrontational. So we're big on feedback. But why? Well, mostly because it keeps us relevant. As we've diversified, we've welcomed different cultures, beliefs, languages, genders, ages, and backgrounds. And learning from and adapting to their needs helps us continue to attract, recruit, and retain talent. Some of the ways we encourage feedback are we have an open door policy, but also we know that support comes in lots of guises. So we have buddies, we have mentors, we have supervisors and managers, and of course, directors. We have a very friendly HR team, and we absolutely positively embrace the friendships that we have here. And all of us are encouraged to approach any one of those people, whoever you feel most comfortable with. But if face-to-face is not your preference, we also have an anonymous suggestion box. The things that have come out of that suggestion box are Friday beers, herbal teas, when coffee or breakfast tea doesn't quite cut it, and a birthday hour. So when it's your birthday, you get to spend an extra hour in bed at the front of the day, or you can start celebrating an hour earlier at the end of the day. We use online voting to implement an exit out of some of our processes. And we, of course, have feedback in our formal appraisals, and they're encouraged both from our peer set and to the business. Our exit interviews are held impartially, and we know we don't always get it right. But the beauty of diversity is accepting that you can't please all the people all the time. And then finally, we have our best awards. This is the opportunity for our colleagues to recognise others within the business as demonstrating behaviours that truly live our values. BEST stands for bold, expert, spirit and trust. These are the values voted for and implemented by our colleagues as the most important thing in keeping us true. So age is just a number, and I would say that. But I've touched on gender. But our biggest diversity here at Pricecheck is actually age. 63% of our workforce are under 35. 26% are between 35 and 55. And about 10% are over 55. That number is nearer to 20% in the warehouse. We have a 50-year age gap between our youngest and our eldest team members. So that means we need to remain relevant and attractive to a whole spectrum of generations. To put a 50-year age gap into perspective, that's the difference between a job for life and a TikTok CV, or the invention of colour TVs versus an iPhone and Snapchat, or shopping locally versus shopping online. So how can one business be attractive to all generations? It's about finding common ground and the elements that unite us all. And what unites all generations is having a sense of purpose, having clarity in what you're doing, making it meaningful, and having a sense of trust. So we work hard to cater the environment to the person and not just the business. I mentioned earlier that our values were chosen by our colleagues. They unite us and they underpin everything we do. We have bold because we're brave enough to make decisions and we're bold enough to learn from them. We have expert because this gives certainty and clarity in role. It helps our continuous improvement in learning, and it gives us a sense of purpose. We have spirit because it encompasses our family ethos. It encompasses giving something back. It gives meaning to our day, and it bolsters our entrepreneurial spirit. And finally, we have trust because we care for each other. We work on building connections inside and out, and we rely on our business and on each other to do the right thing. I don't know if you can see me anymore because I actually can't see you. I can see Caroline.
I can see you.
Oh, brilliant. That's disconcerting when you can see me and I can't see you. Hopefully, that's given you an overview of our continual journey to attract, recruit, and retain a diverse workforce. It's explained how we focus on each area, and I've gone into some detail on the type of things we do to remain relevant, diverse, and attractive to all our current and future team members, who in turn will continue to contribute to our growth. To finish, some of the things we're particularly proud of are we have invested in the development of our middle managers. They're the first line of recruitment. They're often the first line of support, and they are always our culture keepers. We have created an environment where our team feel comfortable and accepting of our individuality. We join together to celebrate and embrace our differences, not just on Pride Week or International Women's Day or religious celebrations, but all throughout the year. Our graduate and placement schemes are thought through and fought for, but development doesn't stop there. We encourage lifelong learning, and we support and fund professional and further qualifications. We provide a platform for the team's personal growth, and that can be linear progression within the department or a cross-functional sidestep. This provides an enriching experience for the colleague, but it also benefits the business as it retains talent in-house and it shares knowledge and expertise across departments. We're really proud of our partnerships with local educational providers, including Sheffield Hallam University and local colleges. But more recently, we have moved to recruit professional experts and more mature candidates with transferable skills that are a good fit. And this together has provided a cohesive balance across our team. So all of that in summary is we aim to recruit the person and not the skills. We're not looking for a female manager with wholesale experience, although that would be handy, but it's quite hard to come by. So we're recruiting for potential, and we're recruiting to ensure that our personal values align to the company values. And we do all of that by remembering that differences are complementary, not confrontational, that we believe role models are magnetic, that hearing is not the same as listening, and that small changes make a big difference. You. Ooh.
Thanks, Tracy.
See you again.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure if that was the end or fantastic. So do we have any questions for Tracy? Let's have a look. Dominic's saying that your business is very similar to Costco. That can only be a good thing.
We'll take that.
Any jobs going at Pricecheck, Tracy? Last time I saw on social media there was a few.
Yeah, there is a few. Most definitely get in touch.
Yeah, okay, great. So there are vacancies. Can you share some details about your wellbeing program? And that's from Lawrence Montragnon.
I can. So our wellbeing program involves, as I talked about, we have mental first aiders, both in our warehouses and in our offices. We have regular events to raise awareness. We provide support with regards to counsellors online. We have doctors online. I'm not sure, put on the spot which one. Oh, we have Westfield. I think that's about covers it all as top line.
Thank you. That's fantastic. Thanks very much, Tracy.